Serious, what is the most ridiculous thing you've ever seen a man do to defend their masculinity? My dad will not tolerate being served food that was set to look pretty. Once he ordered a dish with coconut shrimp, and when it came out its presentation looked very cute and my dad immediately recoiled in disgust and said, "This isn't what I ordered, take it back." We were all confused because he had in fact ordered it and the waitress was just beside herself. My dad then said, "It's too feminine." The waitress ended up taking the plate back and they rearranged the shrimp as to not offend my dad as if he were a picky 2-year-old. A few weeks ago my wife and I visited a friend in another country. We got to know her boyfriend, who was a bit special. He teased her relentlessly, all the time, and could not take any criticism at all. Once, we were arriving back at the house, by car, he was driving, when she jokingly told him, "I drive way better than you," referring to the narrow alleyways in their town and how she has no issues parking in tiny spots. Apparently, he saw that as an offense to his manlyhood which he just could not let slide in front of his girlfriend and us, two almost complete strangers in the back seat. He started accelerating like a maniac, going about 80 kilometers an hour in an old European town in the mountains, where you don't see any cars coming and the roads are really narrow, his girlfriend screaming at him to stop. He did this for about 2 streets before he turned around and drove back. I used to work at a bakery where each clerk had to bring their own pens to have customers sign receipts with, if they paid with a card. I had a pink pen with a little duck on top and one day a customer refused to sign with it. He got really mad that I didn't have another pen and walked out to his car to find a pen that wasn't girly. I had a pink sequiny pink I used when I used to do sporting goods. Ink was blue but it kept the macho men from stealing my pen when they got their hunting/fishing license. I had a guy tell me I the man. I walk ahead while we were in my part of the city where clearly I was the one who knew the way. It ended up with me turning the right way and then him jumping in front of me and walking ahead. It was kinda goofy but I could tell that at the core he was serious. Didn't know skin cancer was a prerequisite for manliness. Lol guys, look at this sissy being scared of cancer. A guy tried to emasculate me in my weightlifting class, the problem being he had never lifted in his life. It should be noted that this guy was a one-upper to a T. If anyone had a talent or had anything remotely interesting to say, he was there to outdo them. I was showing him how to do bench press and I was doing 155, which is my max. Not a lot of weight, but again, it's a lot when you've never lifted. He proceeded to attempt the weight I was doing while I was at the water fountain. Unfortunately I couldn't get there before he gave himself a hairline fracture in his sternum. I would have felt worse for him if he wasn't such a dickhead. Stepbrother is the type of guy that refuses to hold his girlfriend's purse. Once at a small family dinner she went to the bathroom. After a minute she must have texted him and he goes to check on her. They quietly argued a little and were clearly mad but trying to hide it the whole night after. Turns out she needed a tampon from her purse and he wouldn't even bring the purse to her. She had to text my sister to bring it to her. Friend of mine had a wardrobe malfunction and flashed her crotch accidentally. A tool bag at the bar pointed it out by loudly yelling, "I saw your vag, I saw your vag." Her boyfriend responded by flipping out and yelling at her about how dare she show some other bloke her vag. She had to placate him that it was still his vag. Assholes all around. It was raining and I offered a guy my umbrella and he refused, saying they were just for women. I didn't even know that was a thing. Next $1 million idea, the manbrella. The handle can be a camo pistol grip. Back in middle school, when Uggs were still in fashion, I had a pair of Uggs, fake Uggs, that I kept things in that I didn't want people to see. My phone, tampons, money, etc. Well, one day Aunt Flo comes along and I attempt to sneakily put a tampon in my boot to go to the bathroom. I was still self-conscious at the time about periods. I raise my hand, get up and try to walk to the door, trip and my boot falls off and my tampon rolls to this dude. He picks it up, not realizing what it is. When he realizes, he screams like a girl and the people around start giggling as he throws it in the air. Well, he didn't like being laughed at, so to redeem himself, he grabs the tampon and starts gnawing on it with his teeth, full-on dog attack style. Then he spits it out onto the floor. I was not happy and people just kinda looked around awkwardly and went back to work. 2 male classmates and I were on a field trip and got caught in the rain. I had a raincoat, and guy 1 had an umbrella. He offered to share it with the guy 2, who had no rain gear. Guy 2 insisted it was gay to share an umbrella with another man. He would only use the umbrella if he carried it, while I walked under it with him and guy 1 borrowed my raincoat. This didn't fly because A. I wasn't about to give up my raincoat for the paltry protection lent by huddling under an umbrella, and B. Guy 1 would not have fit my raincoat. So guy 2 got soaked. Man, I know a guy who's completely given up on straight porn solely because he can see the man's penis. I know this because he's so incredibly vocal about watching exclusively lesbian porn sans dildos or anything remotely phallic and that it's gay to do otherwise. Man, he's going to be so pissed off when he realizes that he is a cock. TFW, you're balls deep in a girl and look down and see your penis and the whole thing turns gay. A female friend of mine brought a Tinder boy on a double date with me and my girlfriend. After the movies we took a dip in friend's pool and somehow we started this quasi-sword fight game with the pool noodles. This ducking kid proceeded to whack me with all his strength in an attempt to impress my friend. Like I could see the strain in his face. Also, afterwards we were watching a movie and I fell asleep. Tinder boy proceeded to aggressively attempt to feel up friend and suck on her shoulder. There was not a second date. Suck on her shoulder? Well, I guess everyone has their fetish. Some years back I had a guy block me on FB and stop talking to me at work because I posted a pic of me in makeup that my daughter did and then a second pic of me in a sarong with same makeup. She was 10 and wanted a model to work on. It was hilarious fun and it will be a long-lived great memory of me and my little girl having a good laugh. Apparently he was talking behind my back about me being gay and I was teaching my daughter the wrong things about what being a man meant and what girls should expect. The other blokes are as crazy as me and didn't think much of him. He even went as far as telling the so he did not think I was the right person to be working and sleeping at the station with other men. I'm a firefighter. This is a guy who was divorced twice and estranged from his kids. Has at least one violence order against him that I've since learned about. He was a shit worker and only lasted 8 months. My best friend unexpectedly had a very heavy period hit her out of nowhere while at work. She bled noticeably through her pants. She asked her boyfriend to drive to the store and pick up some tampons and a change of pants. He showed up later with some pants and no tampons. He didn't want to be seen buying them. He was 24. At a school dance it was cheaper to get in if you were a couple. I can't remember exactly how much, it was probably 10 or 20 bucks cheaper. The teacher at the door was cool, so even if you came with your group of guy friends he would just pair you off and charge you the cheaper price. These two jock-type guys refused to be paired together and demanded they each pay their separate entrance fee. What an awful school policy though. Yeah, duck you if you're single. My brother won't eat foods that resemble semen. No mayonnaise, no yogurt or sour cream, nothing. He won't even eat the melted frosting on a Cinnabon. Masculinity so fragile. Bro missing out on that Cinnabon though. Dude, if Cinnabon icing only came out of dudes' dicks I would be so gay RN. Get enraged and argue that ducking another guy up the ass didn't make you gay, only taking it did. Like, he was ready to attack us for laughing at him. Yeah, you think that's funny? Keep it up, Jim, I'll duck you in the ass. Then you'll be gay. My husband has long hair and usually has a few hair ties on his wrist because of it. One of the guys I used to work with also has long hair and couldn't find a suitable replacement for the rubber band he'd lost. My husband, upon noticing, offered him his last hair tie that just so happened to be pink, and this dude went a damn tirade saying how he wasn't some F and wasn't going to wear it. Then went through the rest of the day in 102 heat, soaked with sweat and his hair just getting all stuck to his face and shit. This same dude also refused to ever put on sunscreen or wear gloves even though we worked outside with tools pretty much every damn day, so he'd constantly be sunburned and peeling and always had these huge painful looking blisters on his hands. Nothing says manliness like skin cancer. I once had a housemate who was a male nurse. Not a nurse. A male nurse. If you forgot the male, you were always corrected. You'd think someone who was that sensitive wouldn't have become a male nurse in the first place. Went on a date with a cop. He paid for dinner and we went for coffee. I quickly paid for the drinks and his attitude turned sour after that. He thought that by me paying, it made him less of a man. It was just a nice gesture. He's still single. I've actually gotten into a real argument on a date because he wouldn't let me pay for anything. Like, not even a okay you get it this time I'll get it next time thing. He literally was offended that there was going to be any point in our dating history where I paid. Our dating history ended that evening. When I was a teenager, a guy I know shotgunned a whole bottle of gin. People do this with beer. I guess he thought it would be cool with hard liquor. I guess the big issue is that you don't feel anything while you are downing it. He collapsed moments after finishing. He was in the emergency room within the hour after passing out and being unrousable. Putting your hands on a nightclub floor seems like a fear factor challenge. Was giving out samples of yogurt at the grocery store. Offer a man some. Looks in disgust woman food. He was a grown man probably in his late 30s, early 40s. What the duck is woman food? Woman food? Like the salads that make them laugh in stock photos? The salad tells jokes as a defense mechanism to keep it alive longer and in hopes that you'll not want to eat it for its high entertainment value. I have a cousin that'll only eat meat and as little of non-meat foods as possible. He sees meat as being very manly and salad and stuff as being feminine. For example, he'll eat a bacon burger and only tolerates a bun because it makes holding it easier. He'll have bacon for breakfast, a burger for lunch, and steak or fish for dinner. Unsurprisingly, he's had 3 heart attacks and severe atherosclerosis, so being manly seems to be mainly about dying in his 50s to heart disease. Showed up with my friend to a barn party, and when her ex-boyfriend noticed she was there, he made sure she was watching and then proceeded to chug the rest of a huge frickin' jug of peppermint schnapps he had been holding. This wasn't a handle either, it was like milk gallon-sized. But peppermint schnapps? Why? We're in a barn, everyone else just had beer, so I don't even know where he got it. Like, it's not the manliest of drinks, but he committed and he finished it. Honestly, thinking back, I actually was sort of impressed, so I guess mission accomplished on his part. A friend of mine once refused to shower for over a week because his mother had bought the lemon-scented shower gel rather than the manly mint one he was used to. His defense? Even if I haven't showered, at least I still smell like a bloke. Suffice to say, we didn't hang around him until he got his minty shower. A man I was hooking up with wouldn't wear my pink hair tie to hold his dreads back during sex. In the dark, with just me and him in the room. Understandable, he wouldn't want anyone to think he was gay while he was actively having intercourse with a woman. Pretty reasonable if you ask me. I hate it when I'm balls deep in a woman and get caught looking gay. I've had men basically refuse to walk through doors that I've opened for them. Ooh, suddenly so many awkward moments make sense. My now very ex-boyfriend said that he would refuse to buy me pads or tampons. Even in an emergency situation. He claimed it was something I should have been in preparation for myself. I compared it to me not being willing to bring him toilet paper if he needed it. When we lived together, he approached me in regards to the small piece of toilet paper that had a bit of period blood on it, claiming that he wouldn't want me to fall into the nasty habit of leaving bloody ghosts visible. I took way too long to dump that guy. A guy I knew in college kept bashing gay people and going on about what a real man he was. I told him when people try to hard like him, I just assume they're insecure with their masculinity and gay. He immediately did a 180-degree turn and went, "I'm very secure with my masculinity. In fact, I like flirting with guys and making them uncomfortable just because I'm so secure with being straight. If someone offered me a role in a gay porno, I'd even take it if there's enough zeros in that check. I'm really secure." He came out as gay a few years ago. A guy at my work once beat up a disabled person because he thought he was hitting on his girlfriend. He wasn't, he had Down syndrome and she would hang out with him because no one else would. Wow. That is unbelievably low. Not beating on disabled people is a pretty basic concept that you're even made aware of in school. Many years ago, I worked with a very sweet woman at McDonald's named Nadia. She got promoted to shift supervisor, but about halfway through the training, her husband realized she'd be making more money than he was, and he demanded she refuse the promotion. She did. I will never forget the heartbreak in her eyes when she turned in her new uniform with the cute little ascot and took back the old scrubs. Kick a dog. I don't know the details, but he said the dog did something that meant you're a bitch in dog language, so he had to show the dog he ain't no bitch. God, I ducking hated that guy. FYI, the dog got a better home not long after that, cause the douchebag wasn't supposed to have a dog at his house. A coworker brought his 5-year-old son into work last week. I said hi, then gave him markers and paper and let him draw in my office. Today my coworker tells me that his son wants to come back to draw with me again. My coworker continues and says that I need to play with his son, not give him paper to draw. I asked why, and my coworker answers that he doesn't want his kid to draw because it'll make him gay and unmanly. He needs him to run around rambunctiously so he won't be impacted by the womanly art of drawing. My mouth was on the floor. I knew my coworker was homophobic and worked hard to defend his masculinity, but this was too much. That poor kid. I'm 5 and my ex-husband is like 5 feet 7 inches. He wouldn't let me wear heels when we went out together because it looked weird having a woman near his height at his side. My first night working in a sleazy hotel, these giant guys came to party and they invited my trainer and I to join. We were 19. Why not? We go up there to find 3 dudes who were so obviously loaded up on steroids, proving who was the toughest by putting their hands on the electric stove burner before taking shots. My husband drives a red Fiat. We call it the Chili Pepper. When I ride with him, I'm always shocked by how many guys in huge trucks feel the need to aggressively rev their engine at him. Some guy decided to try to pick up a car after his girlfriend joked that he was weak. I was there, and all I saw was the guy looking offended to what she had said, then bent down and gripped the car by the side. He ended up crumbling onto the road sobbing that he didn't manage the impossible. Funniest thing I've seen all week. Thanks for listening to another episode of Reddit X. Subscribe and activate the notification bell so you won't miss any stories. Feel free to share your own stories below in the comments. Have a good day.